I think I just shot myself. Welcome to episode 12. We're back. Super Acquaintances podcast coming at you one day late. We're recording here Monday night because Trevin took me on a fucking bender this weekend in New York City, and your boy couldn't make it for Sunday night.
Welcome to a simple day in my life.
But in all seriousness, we apologize for the 1 day delay. Hope you guys cut us a little bit of slack. 15 of our listeners, so we appreciate that. Even though there were some extracurricular activities going on in New York City, we did not miss what was going on in college baseball this weekend, and we appreciate you coming here to chill and listen to us talk about it. So just again, any first time listeners, I'm Travis. Got here TJ, Benjie, Sujas, and Eric. Brendan is the only one who's not able to make it tonight, which is unfortunate. So because we were recording a day late, technically, every organization's rankings have been published already, as well as ours, and we've already gotten some pretty, vehement and also reasonable at some point feedback. So we technically could talk about that tonight, but I think because Brennan was one of the acquaintances most in the crosshairs, let's say.
So was Benjie.
Yeah,
Benjie was getting pretty fired at too.
But that one was reasonable. He kind of goofed on the Arkansas, or not Arkansas, it was Vanderbilt. No, it was Vanderbilt.
It's a lot of them, but
Ole Miss, and
we all have a few mix-ups, so that's fine. We can talk about Thursday.
Yeah, we'll get to that on Thursday. But in the meantime, this weekend was crazy. We had a really awesome slate of the pick'em that we did, which actually I haven't even calculated who won that yet, so we'll post that tomorrow. But there was some excellent baseball. Like the ACC was probably some of the best baseball, with the Virginia, Miami, Georgia Tech, Florida State turned out to be a very good series. But then in the Big 12, you also had Oklahoma, OU, Texas took care of business against TCU. So I'm gonna let TJ. He's gonna quickly burn down just all the raw results, just so you have a idea of everything that happened in top 25 teams. And keep in mind, we're talking top 25 teams as ranked by ourselves, as well as perfect game D1 teams that we did not include. So sit back and I'll take you on a little tour of what happened this weekend in college baseball, and then we as a group will get into a little bit more general and specific, really good oxymoron there, discussion on specific players and general team outlooks going forward.
Yeah, so starting off at the top, you got number one ranked across the board in everybody's book, 31-1 Tennessee. They sweep unranked Mizzou. Texas Tech swept Kansas State.
Actually, hold up, Eric. What shirt are you wearing there? Just so while we're talking Tennessee, I know I interrupted after one team out of 39, but just for the listeners,
who may not be
seeing the shirt.
It's our boy Mike Honcho, little jersey action.
That's a hot jersey. I've seen some of their merch. I don't know if I'm going to get that exact one. I think they have another one I had my eye on, but those are pretty hot. I like those.
I feel like
well worth the $20.
I feel like our group has done a pretty good job of like jersey variety. So I feel like we need to introduce a feature now, like once we sign on and before we get into like baseball talk, we should what's the fit for tonight. So like,
I've literally worn a different one every single
I know.
Benjie wins every time. He wins every time.
Yeah, the contest, just for listeners.
So I got the good old sleeveless Paul Goldschmidt jersey from Diamondbacks.
Thank goodness you said so. I didn't even realize it was sleeveless, but that's absolutely sick.
Potentially one of the best looks
it's the
retro
classic
baseball. Yeah, I
the
love
white
that look.
the white pinstripes with the purple and teal Diamondback logo.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I really wish
what shirt to wear under it so that way you can actually know it's a sleeveless, but I can't find one that doesn't have words on the sleeves.
I wish that the Diamondbacks would have done something along the lines of that for their City Connect instead of their serpentine.
The City Connect is still sick. It's still sick.
It's still sick, but I just wish the throwback D-backs is just.
That's why I'm hoping.
I mean, it's a not miss. It's a not miss. They killed every single one of their jerseys back then.
I'm hoping Colorado does the sleeveless jerseys with theirs.
Hold on,
I'm-
I think I got a jersey for Eric. Real quick, hold on, let me see what. Got a nice jersey for Eric. Let me put it on.
He was.
I think they won 3-0 tonight. Against those Yankees.
How'd they finish in the AL East last year?
Oh, that was last year, man. We're talking about this year.
Also, you wore
It
that
is what-
last week.
To please tell the listeners what you're wearing.
I'm
You're
wearing
putting
a
on
Vlad Jr. baby blue Toronto Blue Jays jersey.
That Daddy C just got for you.
Yes.
Second best
For my
player on the
birthday.
Blue Jays.
He got it
Second best player on the
for my
Blue
birthday.
Jays.
Who's the first?
I am rocking a non-baseball baseball jersey. William Black signed. We got to sit down and meet him this weekend, Travis and I. So pretty sick, like kind of galaxy paint splatter type thing. Yeah, so that's what I'm rocking.
If anyone's, I'll start wearing some of my other ones. If anyone is into EDM or is not, a lot of the artists actually do a really good job of like really well designed baseball jerseys to wear to concerts and stuff.
I've noticed that with
and then in the back.
Jowers got some pretty cool ones on.
Yeah, I'll start breaking out my collection.
Go ahead, Travis. Why don't you show off that hoodie you wear every time?
Yeah, it's the same hoodie for my Georgia Tech fandom because I don't have a jersey. So I'll break out some jerseys next time. But I had to, even if I was going to do it this time, I feel like I needed to rock with my boys after the massive series win. And to talk a little bit about that more, I'll let Travin get back to his weekend recap.
Yeah, so burning down number 2, Texas Tech swept Kansas State. Miami swept Virginia, Arkansas got a 2-1 series win against Florida.
Nope. Florida won.
Yep, that is correct. I read that wrong. Texas got a 2-1 series win over TCU. Virginia got swept by Miami. Georgia took a 2-1 series win over unranked South Carolina. No one knows how they're playing in the world, honestly. Well, they were unranked at the time. Oregon State swept unranked USC. Notre Dame got the sweep versus Clemson. Oklahoma State got a 2-1 series win over OU. Bad look for the old boom soon down there.
They're still 2-2 versus Oklahoma State, so not
they,
too bad.
They lost the series, so that's all that matters.
Do they have another midweek against them, or is that's it for the season series?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Vanderbilt got swept by Auburn, correct? Yeah. Vanderbilt got swept by Auburn. Don't know why I was confused on that. UCLA got a 2-1 series win over Utah. LSU swept Mississippi State. Mercer swept the Citadel. Arizona got a 1-2 series loss to Washington State. Stanford at home, yes. Stanford swept Arizona State. Louisville got a 2-1 series win over UNC. Wake Forest swept Duke. Go Wake Forest. Gonzaga got a 2-1 series win over the Helicopters of San Francisco. Florida got the 2-1 series win to Arkansas. Southern Miss swept Charlotte. Texas State lost the series 1-2 to unranked Georgia Southern. RIP to you guys. Florida State got a 1-2 series loss to unranked Georgia Tech. TCU got a 1-2 series loss to Texas. Ole Miss.
Done for. Put him in the grave.
Well, thank you for proving every single one of us right.
Where are those Ole Miss guys at?
I don't know. I
haven't heard from them in about a month.
Yeah, I'll tell you one. Even the Barstool writer for Ole Miss is ready to declare it's the end of the head coaching era there.
Ready to wave the white flag.
They got swept by Alabama. And fun fact for you, Ole Miss is now 3-4 since the $2 hot dog limit night. So
life comes at you fast.
Life comes at you real fast sometimes. And sometimes you just need to be like, hey, we need to serve more hot dogs sometimes. Going down to our first 5 out, Virginia Tech won the series very handily, 2-1 at NC State. Oregon got a 3-1 series win at Ball State. I was wrong with my prediction. I said they were going to go 4-1. That's fine. 3-1 is still good. NC State obviously lost the series 1-2. Old Dominion lost the series to UTSA 1-2. Georgia Tech got a series win against Florida State. DBU swept Missouri State. Auburn swept Vanderbilt. UConn swept St. John's. I got a lot to say about them in the rankings podcast. Alabama swept Ole Miss. Thank you. Maryland got a 2-1 series.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, Maryland got a 2-1 series over Minnesota. For some reason, D1, I believe, or is it Perfect Game? I'm sorry, Baseball America has Wofford College ranked number 25.
No.
I saw that.
And
No.
It's
trying
baseball.
to save it for Thursday. They got the sweep against UNC Greensboro.
Our house.
Slow clap there, I guess. And Grand Canyon swept none other than Dixie State. Still wondering if they don't belong on the same baseball field as teams, but
yeah. Just to quickly, let's make sure we contextualize some of the series that mattered a little bit more. So I know Miami did sweep Virginia. That was in Miami, so it wasn't like Virginia took a home sweep, but still, we were looking at that series coming into that as being kind of the one to watch, right? Like it was 2 consensus top 5 teams duking it out, and Miami. So just, you weren't here Thursday night, were you, for the weekend preview?
Yeah, I was.
Were you?
I
Okay.
wasn't.
That's right. So
Yeah,
I talked a lot about like how I wasn't sure what Miami was doing.
Yeah.
They conclusively proved that they're I don't understand how some of y'all had.
I'm pretty
Texas
sure I
Tech.
said they were going to sweep them.
I can't remember if we said
in the
that or
last
not,
pod.
but yeah, full credit to them because they came out and just dominated Virginia 3 games. Were any of those? I mean, I don't think any of them were particularly close.
I know Sundays was a blowout.
Yeah,
I'll be the
Also wanna make a
first to
correct-
say. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. If you're talking about this stuff.
I mean, in terms of rankings, I know we're not going to get too far into it, but I definitely did have a blunder and I switched Miami and Virginia, but
that's okay.
I'll try to defend myself. I definitely overlooked a few teams, but they won't be overlooked from now on.
So Florida beat the Arkansas. Arkansas was a big upset. That series was in Gainesville, so credit to the Gators for getting it done at home. I want to talk a little bit about that as it pertains to Arkansas.
Vandy too.
Later.
Vandy did not get swept. Also, you said they got swept. They did win 1 game, and they scored more runs in that game than Auburn scored against them the whole weekend.
They still lost
Yeah.
the series, Benji.
I know
They did.
that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Vandy's not looking good at
No,
all.
not at
Coming
all.
off a series losses now to South Carolina, Tennessee, and Auburn.
Ooh.
I don't think we can fault them too much for the Tennessee because I mean,
No,
No,
but the other two, are
yes,
huge
the
losses.
other two are massive.
I'll get into that more.
Yeah, I'll let
Yeah.
them Benji talk about that. But other big ones. So the LSU Mississippi State, that one was big because that series was in at Mississippi State. So LSU they went into Mississippi State and swept them, which is pretty crazy because LSU we've been wishy-washy on, but Mississippi State was kind of making a comeback a little bit and then has just played like dog water recently.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
think they are
Don't worry,
officially dead.
I'm
is-
touching on them heavy.
Hey, they play Auburn this weekend.
Every
Well,
Mississippi
I'll get into
school,
that.
Gonna get
Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Come on.
every Mississippi
Let me
State
talk about my
school
teams, people.
is dead except for Southern Miss. Anyway,
Southern Miss is the kings of
but yeah, I'm just trying to remember. I think those are the biggest ones as it pertains to like upset series and sweeps on the road and
Talk
stuff.
about upset series is Washington State beating Arizona.
Yes, yeah, that was in Tucson, and they dropped that series 2-1. Thank you. That was the other big one because there was not a lot of action in the Pac-12, but that was the most notable result, I think.
Washington State was 10-17 coming into that game.
Yeah, they were bad, and then Oregon State, they swept USC at USC, and I don't know if you saw this. I don't think this is any of our stats. And Benji, is your stat? Does it have anything to do with the Oregon State pitching staff? It does. Okay. We'll
I
move.
have. Oh, is it about Cooper Jerpy?
No, did you see that they gave up 0 walks the entire series?
No.
All right, so
I did not see. I didn't pay attention to that. Damn.
well, then we'll just keep all this in and cut the space out because so they pitched the entire series without surrendering a single walk.
That's crazy.
at USC. So that was, I think, the other big one.
Their pitching staff has been pretty dominant the last couple weeks.
ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, so let's jump right into figuring out who's going to be our player of the week here at SAC Baseball. So my guy that I'm going to pick, because I'm just going to mention him because I'm obviously not going to give the award to the player that I pick, is Jackson Smeltz coming out of Purdue. He's 4-0 on the year so far. Goes 8 innings, 13 strikeouts, 1 hit, no earned runs, only gave up 3 walks. So
who were they
pretty
playing?
outstanding pitching matchup. They were playing.
Oh, it was Illinois, wasn't
it? No, it was Indiana. That's who it was.
Indiana. The old Indiana
rivalry. Yeah, Indiana Purdue.
Yeah, so he comes in an in-state rivalry game against Indiana, goes 8 shutout innings with 13 strikeouts, only 3 walks. So his whip is sitting nice for that game.
I'll go into mine and try to gain some fans that I may have lost in the past 48 hours. Mine is Sonny DeChara of Auburn. And he went 5 for 12 on the weekend, 3 home runs, a double, 2 walks, and 6 RBIs. It gets better. As of today, he leads the NCAA in 3 different categories. He leads it in batting average. He's sitting at 452. He's 42 and 93 on the season. He leads the NCAA in on-base percentages at 595. And he leads the NCAA in slugging percentage at 946. He's at 88 total bases in 93 at-bats.
Yeah. So do y'all actually know what slugging is a representation of? So you know how ERA, right, is it's a measure of how many runs a pitcher gives up per 9 innings. So slugging, it takes the total bases a player generates and divides it by plate appearance. So essentially it's saying so if you had a home run every at bat, your slugging would be 4 because every play at bat you're producing 4 bases. So to have a slugging of 1, that means every single time this man comes up to the plate, it's an automatic base, hitting wise, not even on base percentage. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be honest. As I defended myself on my own personal Twitter to some of the Auburn fans, I have no idea. I overlooked Auburn completely.
Oh, dude, it's all right. I own them in our fantasy, and I have them on my bench every single week.
Yeah, I did maybe 30 seconds of research and found out.
Yeah, Sonny DeChara was awesome.
They have the hottest hitter in NCAA baseball.
Yeah, originally I had Sonny DeChara as well. But I also every single week I pick the same dude because the dude just performs, man. Cooper Jerpy is an animal with Oregon State pitching. He's 7-0 now. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 9 strikeouts. He now has 77 strikeouts this year, which is 5th overall in all NCAA. And his ERA is now a 1.7. He brought that down this weekend. It was a 1.95. So it just keeps getting better and better. So I'm excited to see what he does. I do have a secondary guy. He's not my actual choice. But I had a third dude throw a complete game. This is a third podcast I've been a part of now that has one of my guys throwing a complete game. But Auburn's Joseph Gonzalez through 9 innings, gave up 8 hits, only gave up 2 runs, but had 8 strikeouts against Vandy. So not too shabby for a complete game versus Vandy.
Yeah, one thing that is interesting comparing college baseball to the major leagues, there's such a more premium on starting pitching in college baseball because in the majors, right, you have teams like Tampa Bay that use an opener, they use a starter for 3-4 innings, and then they take it to the bullpen. Where in college baseball, if you have to go into your bullpen in game 1, you're shot for the rest of the weekend because those are the same arms having to throw the same innings. So, it's encouraged more often to let pitchers go deep into games, which is awesome to see. When you go up to the field or when you go to the field as a fan, I don't want to see 10 different bullpen arms. I want to see a bulldog work through those, the third time through the order. So I appreciate that we're giving a highlight to those complete game efforts. I do want to give a shout out to this is not my player of the week, but Alex Williams for Stanford. He himself threw a complete game shutout, only gave up 3 hits to Arizona State this weekend. Stanford swept that series, so they're rolling. They're playing hot again.
How many strikeouts do you have in that?
Yeah, he only had 6 strikeouts, so it wasn't like he was K'ing up everybody, but still,
Still was getting
101 pitches, giving up only 3 hits is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also in the Stanford pitching staff, you guys remember the last weekend we gave our player of the week to Quinn Matthews, who got the save on the Saturday game against Oregon State and then got the win on Sunday. So I think Stanford is like leaning on this formula a little bit. He did the same thing again. He got the save on Saturday. Now, granted, it was not against the quality of team like Oregon State, right? They're playing Arizona State. They were up by 4 runs and he only came in for 1 out. So it was not nearly the leverage type save that he was used in the Oregon State series. But then he did come and work and got the win on Sunday with 5 or 6 innings.
That's
So
crazy.
really cool to see the pitching management there at Stanford. Give a shout out to Quinn Matthews for doing that again. My player of the week, though, the runner-up, last Stanford Cardinal mentioned here, Braden Montgomery. I mentioned him also last week. He was the 2-way freshman, hit a home run in all 3 games of that series. So that's pretty cool. But you guys know, if anybody was on Twitter this weekend, Kevin Parada is tearing the cover off the ball. Not only did he move into the NCAA's home run lead, he's sharing it with 2 other players at the moment with 15. So he passed good old rake me off. This
he
weekend
didn't pass him.
Yeah,
he
He's tied
did.
with him. He's
Rake's
tied
at,
with him.
Rake's
Gelof's
at
only got
14.
14.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the stats right now.
I looked at them right before the podcast.
I will send them to
Gelof
everybody.
was at 14 last week. Didn't hit one this weekend.
Yeah. Andy Garriola from Old Dominion and Jason Hinchman from Tennessee Tech are the other 2 players with 15 home runs.
Nice cock.
Sudis' favorite Tennessee school.
So, my player of the week, I
Well,
think
hold on.
I
I didn't say shit about Kevin Parada.
Oh, you said he got the home run record.
Yeah. So Parada's in the home run lead now, shared the home run lead, and he did that by mashing 4 taters this weekend against what widely were considered the best starting pitching staff in the country. And I'll touch on that a little bit more when we get into contender pretender. But yeah, 9 for 18 on the weekend with a double, a triple, and 4 round trippers. So that's my submission for player of the weekend, leading Georgia
solid.
Tech
That's a
to a
solid
really
weekend.
a really key series win.
That's a solid weekend.
My player of the week was Pete Hansen. He's the pitcher for Texas, and he played against TCU on Friday. He pitched a complete game, 12 strikeouts, 2 hits, and 0 earned runs. So he had one hell of a game. So I got to give him the player of the week. Complete game shutout with 12 Ks, 2 hits.
You know, I think it's funny. The first time Benji mentioned he had a player throw a complete game, we talked about how rare it is to see complete games.
And now we've seen
And
them
now we've
every
seen
week.
every
And there's been
week
one
since.
every week, and there was
Every
3 alone that we
podcast
mentioned
since.
this week.
My thing that's surprising was when Benji was, I expected him whenever he said, a complete game, that his pitcher was going to give up like 0 or 1 runs and like 5 hits or less. But
Yeah,
that
8
pitcher gave up
hits and
8
2
hits and
runs.
2 runs, and they kept him in there.
Yeah.
I wonder what
Which
his
I
pitch
like-
count was.
I like that a lot. I like that they
Yes.
are willing to let them go that far and just battle that shit out with their.
Yeah,
with
don't
the other
take him
team.
out at the first sign of.
If he's still
adversity.
getting, yeah, because then you're gonna
Let him-
just
let him
diminish.
fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I
That's
100% agree with that.
Because
Exactly.
it
my
almost
point.
takes away a competitiveness that these guys will build. I'm not saying that it's a
And
full
I really want to
reason,
know
but-
if he gave up those 2 hits early on and they let him battle through it, or did he give up those 2 runs and then they, just kept him in there for the rest of the game?
I don't.
I wonder if
remember,
it was early on or late in the game.
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, kind of semantics at this point, but like it proves my point. Like it's from a
It
okay.
was-
I
It
was
was
a
a
pitcher,
run
right?
in the second and the third.
Yeah, so
Okay,
he was
so
early
so
they
on.
kept him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, kept him in after the third,
So
and then he just.
He
shut
was
down.
dominant after the third. It sounds
That-
like.
What
as
was
a
it? What was his
pitcher-
final pitch count? You said.
His final pitch count was 104.
That's
Not
not
bad
too
at all.
bad.
Not
Giving
bad.
up
That's not
8
bad.
hits and 2 runs. That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
So that
bad.
means he made quick work.
Yeah, well, technically he only had 1 earned run because they had an error as well, but 2 runs were scored on him. But he had 0 walks too. So
Yeah, that's like as a pitcher, right? You don't really have the material to like get super pumped up after like, okay, you struck out the side in the 4th inning and now you're at 50 pitches. Like, okay, great job. You're a starting pitcher. But it's when you're putting the team on your back and getting big outs the 3rd time through the order in the 7th and 8th inning when it matters like that. That's the kind of pitching you want to see. So maybe that's happening with more frequency than we gave credit for, but it's still
think-
something I think we love highlighting, and we're going
I
to keep
think it's
doing
the
that.
fact that we're on the lookout now for it because of
Yeah.
like when I brought it up and we started talking about how little it happens. Now everybody in our groups on the lookout.
It's a
for it.
Yeah.
rarity.
Which
They're
I
afraid that
like.
they're going to get Tommy John or something.
I agree with you, Travis. I think it's a cool thing. I like that we are on the lookout because we do need to still
Shout
give
out
them
when
the
it
credit
happens.
for
Yeah.
pitching. Absolutely.
We need to have like tag the pitchers on Twitter like Bulldog awards for the week.
For
going-
sure.
Yeah.
For going
I
CGs.
like
We
that.
can,
Yeah,
we
I
can
like
make that. We can make that a
lot.
segment too. Benji has like the move up and down or whatever, the big moves. He could do the Bulldog segment since he was the first one.
Benji's Bulldogs.
Benji's Bulldogs.
I like that.
Since
I like
That
that.
works.
since he was the first one that pointed out the complete games, I feel like that's
All right,
that's a good
I
one.
like that.
I'll be on the lookout.
Pitchers,
Benji's
baby.
Bulldogs.
Benji's Bulldogs every
that.
Sunday.
I like
Good
that.
shit.
Yeah. So after talking about the complete games and how infrequently it seemed to happen in the beginning and then just seems to keep rolling in since it was first mentioned. I don't think any pitcher had as good of a week as Kevin Parada had at the plate. So I'm gonna have to give this one to the old boy from Catcher U this week.
Go. Yeah, if it's always different. Also, if you see like Jerpy's outing against Stanford last week where you get like 17 strikeouts in the CG, like that's another
Absolutely.
level of dominance. But
Yeah.
yeah, Parada was he kind of lifted Georgia Tech to that series win, which is huge for them. So
I'm actually I know we haven't even gotten into the whole draft topic, but I'm really excited to see where Derpy goes if he gets drafted this year.
Shout out to another Beaver that's doing it in the major leagues. Stephen Kwan, the
Yeah.
best player in the first week of the major leagues, has
He's
not
reached
swung and
base
missed at a pitch.
15. Reached base 15 times, dude.
I saw a stat. He hasn't struck out since I think November or September of 2021.
I don't think it's
Wait,
even striking
is-
out. I think
Is that
it's,
the guy?
I don't think he's
I don't think he's swung and
missed.
missed all year at like 49 pitches.
I think he
And-
hasn't swung and missed
But
since then, Eric.
the Grapefruit
He
League,
makes contact every single time.
I think in the Grapefruit
That's
League, he was hitting like
crazy.
almost 500 in spring training.
Yeah.
That's why they
I'm
threw him
pretty
on the
sure.
roster.
I think. I mean, a little off topic, but I think he's getting a Tops Now card Friday in the show
Oh, hey, I'm
So-
all for it. I am all for that. I love no namers getting that stuff.
because if you look at Tops Now websites or Tops Now
Yeah, he
cards that are
has
actually,
one.
he actually has one. So
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see him,
alright.
him and Bobby Witt getting one.
Well, on a similar topic to player of the week, let's talk about the numbers that turned everybody on this week. I'll go ahead and lead with mine. I've got 2 of them. The first one is 13. That was the consecutive number of SEC series that Arkansas had won in a row until they lost this week to Florida. So that dated back to 2019. And it's right now the record for the SEC longest streak of consecutive series won in conference. It's Arkansas. Florida ended that streak in Gainesville this weekend. But we'll fucking see how long Tennessee goes because it doesn't look like they're going to get beat anytime soon in conference play.
I'll get into that later.
Yeah. So my second one is 6, and I'm going to credit. I'm going to credit Trey Fowler on Twitter at STF3333. So my number, did I say it doesn't matter? My number is 6. All 6 Division I baseball teams from Georgia are inside the top 30 in RPI. So that's Kennesaw State, Mercer, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, UGA, and Georgia Tech. So, like, if you think top 30, 6 of those slots is a fifth, and there are 50 states. So it's pretty wild, like how, our first ever guest on the show was Calvin.
He said it. He said
And
Georgia's a baseball school. Georgia's a baseball state.
Georgia's a baseball state.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure we tag him in that one, because that's pretty freaking incredible.
Yeah. So I'll go in with mine, and mine may seem like a cop out, but wait for it. Iona alert.
Oh,
20
dude, I have that alert freaking later, man.
27 is my number. That is the amount of losses that Iona has on the season.
I'm supposed to do that at the end of the segment, you bitch.
And I'm going to be honest. This isn't my twisted take.
They're not winning.
I don't.
They're not winning.
Poor guys, man.
They play St. Peter's next weekend, man.
They play St. Peter's, Rutgers, Quinnipiac, who smoked up on NC State pack.
Yeah.
Fordham, dude.
They're not winning. They might be the first team that goes win.
I do not see them winning a baseball game this season.
Maybe they pull something out of their ass and they have a reverse Tennessee season.
Last week was their best chance to win, and they got walked off.
And they got walked off by Monmouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
5-6. Yeah. Canisius, I thought they were. I was like, they got.
Right, we all were on the
got a
same page.
chance.
Even Travis said they were going to win on Friday.
6-12,
Nothing.
3-13, 4-12.
Yeah, they're.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
scored some runs.
I hate shitting on them and talking about them so much, because I know these guys are obviously doing more than me. They're playing college baseball. So, but I just want to know, like,
Why?
How? No, not even why, but like how? Like, what are the vibes like? Like, they can't be there.
Immaculate.
Yeah,
I just want to know
non-existent.
what's happening in the clubhouse, if they got one. Like,
So I was going to bring that up. I had the Iona tracker. I was going to talk about that at the end.
I do apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I hate you're sad, man. So they are 0-27, and I was going to talk about how much we shat on them at the beginning of the season for their Tennessee series. But now we're all over here just rooting them on, trying to get them a dub. Like, we just want them, just one.
I'm going to be honest.
I want to see them just one.
They play close to me. I'm going to eventually make it out to one of these games. They're not that far. Hofstra's in Staten Island. Siena's in New Rochelle. Like, there's a couple games, and I mean, the rest of the games are in New York City, well, New York area. So I mean, I'm gonna at least try to get out there so I can, like, watch it firsthand to see what is happening. That's my style.
It's a shame, because I just spent a considerable amount of time looking at Iona's remaining schedule, and obviously they are in last place in the MAAC, the MAAC. The 10th place team out of 11 is Niagara. They are 0-6 in conference play. They have lost their last 13 games in a row, and they are overall a 2-24 team.
And they don't even play them.
How can this be? I can't believe you've done this.
Have they even? Did they play them all year?
No. So I don't know.
They should have a toilet bowl at the end of the year.
They need to schedule it or something.
The toilet bowl.
Loser has to go to D2.
The toilet bowl series. Yeah, I was gonna ask. So that was another thing I was gonna ask. Do you guys think they become a D2 team?
But so here's the thing. I predicted they were going to win on Friday. That didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
They did lose 6-12. I'm gonna take a quick look at this box score.
Yeah, they lost 6. They lost 12-6, 13-3, and 12-4.
You know what?
Rough
My pitcher
versus the Canisius somethings. I'm looking at the logo. It looks like an eagle with Pegasus wings on a tiger body.
You know what, guys? I'm actually going to give myself a little pat on the back here because this game was tied 6-6 in the 6th inning.
Is it really?
Both of my pitcher picks they evened out, right? I called out Helmstetter and Duffy. And then, like I said, in the 6th inning, it was 6-6.
Oh my
And
god,
then
they scored 7 runs in 2 innings.
yeah, they scored 6 runs in the 7th inning. So the last thing we really need to touch on, Iona watch, we're going to keep it going for the rest of the year. If it wasn't going to happen this weekend, we have to ask ourselves the question, looking at their schedule, when could it happen? And I think we
St.
have
Peter's
to.
is 4-24.
That's the thing. So St. Peter's is the second to last place team in the conference.
yeah.
1-5. They're overall 4-24. So let's
It's not going to be
bookmark-
Rutgers.
They also got Siena, who's 8-22, coming up in May.
Okay, here actually, you know what? Here's my bold prediction. Before we, well, no, I'll save it.
Yeah,
I'll
you
save it. I'll
save
save
that
it.
because they got Rutgers,
save it.
Quinnipiac,
I'll save it.
Hofstra. I didn't even know how to have a baseball team. So maybe.
Okay,
maybe them.
so
Yeah. So my stat is going to be 2 different numbers from the same team, being 5 and the number 1. 5 being the amount of ranked teams or teams ranked at the time that Georgia Southern has beaten so far this year on their route to a 20-11 record right now. And the number 1 being the total run differential between their runs scored and runs given up this season. They've scored 183 runs and they've given up 182 runs this season.
so they're
I mean, you really can't complain.
yeah.
can I ask, are they blowing people out and getting blown out, or are they playing like a lot of close games?
I mean, looking at the stats, you would think they'd be close games. So they have a 5.21 ERA as a team, and their opponents against them have a 5.1 ERA as their opponents. So they're playing very evenly matched games and just finding ways to win them all.
So
for
pretty
most
much
of them.
their hitting is mediocre and their pitching is mediocre, but it's just
Their-
enough to just be
Their
there.
pitching is just enough above mediocre to carry
So-
the pitching.
They're the 2021 Seattle Mariners of college baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good point.
basically. Also, this is not the last time I'll be talking about Georgia Southern.
It's my turn for the stats, right?
Yeah. Turn on Travis, baby. Turn him on.
All right, so mine is 16, which is the positive run differential for the Vandy, good old Vandy against their
Oh.
last 11 opponents.
Not where I thought that was going.
It is they have scored 16 more runs. They have a 63 run to 47 ratio over their last 11 opponents. And in their last 11 games, they're 4-7. Which
So their
me
wins are
run
blowouts,
into-
basically.
Let me move into, I know you have to still pick, but that moves into contender pretender, which making my pretender Indy. But I'll let you pick first before I get into that.
Nope, you already got into it.
It's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and give the award for the Sunday. Eric. I love stats that connect multiple different
Segments.
areas or representate, not segments, like having one number that represents multiple different things is really cool. So credit to you for finding that one out. All right, Benji, tell us more about Vanderbilt being a pretender.
All right, so
Even though
Like I
what'd you have
said-
them ranked as?
yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
messed
just-
up my
I'm
I messed
giving
up
you a
my
hard time.
rankings. I messed up my rankings pretty bad. I went very quick and I got to school late and yeah, I messed them up. So
You just got to do what I do. I
um,
just do it while I'm listening to lectures.
I had a speech this morning, so I had to actually do something.
Four
No.
score and 70 Vandy had won years ago.
Yeah. I was able to do my
No.
rankings and all the research and complete an entire presentation all during an economics lecture.
We'll see what the grade is on that one. All right,
So-
Benji.
But yeah, so Vandy pretender. I'm worried about them by a lot. They've lost the last 3 weekend series to Auburn, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Tennessee, I'm not really ashamed of. They are just on another level this year.
Travis, who did you
Can't
pick?
even be. He picked Eric because he had 2 different things at once.
Mike Honcho.
Dude, listen.
When?
You're making Benji start over for the 5th time.
Yeah, no, the first time.
But yeah, so they've lost the last 3 series to Auburn, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Not worried about the Tennessee series, but South Carolina they are just a dark horse on a freaking good old night ride, just living life on the fullest because they beat every good team and lose to the shit teams. Auburn, obviously, like I've completely overlooked Auburn this whole year because I own them on fantasy and they sat on my bench the entire season. But they came out with a huge series win against Vandy. And then Vandy proceeds to play Florida next weekend, which I'm not positive on that series either. I think with how Vandy's been playing on the weekend series, they're also going to lose that series versus Florida. So I don't see them getting any better or moving up in the rankings anymore because they have Kentucky, which I think they'll win that series, but then Texas A&M, a Louisville weekday game, and Georgia. So, and then Arkansas, LSU. So they have a horrid schedule coming up where I've lost faith in my Vandy boys.
They got to find it. So is the pitching just not as dominant as it was?
Pitching and hitting, it's been both. They've both crumbled. There's a lot of guys getting zeros on the hit board on the whole weekend. There's guys that are literally go the whole weekend without getting a hit, and which you can't have. You cannot have that. I think one of the games they had 6 pitchers in one game versus Auburn this weekend. Like that is unacceptable from the program for where they started the season. They were 21-1 at one point.
Yeah.
Or 21-2 because they lost the series to Oklahoma State, and now I think their record is
They still have a better record than
22
Texas.
22-9.
Still better than Texas.
Which is respectable, but keeping in mind that 7 of those 9 losses have come in the
Yes.
last 3 weeks.
Yes, and they're 5-7 in the SEC conference. So
Yeah.
like you can't. They're behind. They're even behind Auburn now in conference play because of the loss to Auburn this weekend. And then my contender is Auburn. So they've taken the last 2 series versus Vandy and LSU. They're showing that they are a contender. Obviously, Brennan shits on LSU all the time, but they're still a decent program. Same with Vandy. They're still a decent program, and they're showing that they can beat those programs. Obviously, they're not going to beat – I don't think they can beat like a Tennessee, but I think they can still at least
But no
progress.
one can.
Yeah, I think they can still progress in like College World Series in the bracket-wise. I think they can still progress at least a decent amount. So we'll see how that goes, though. It might be a bold take, but that's my contender for the week.
Yeah, I'll go with mine. So my contender is Maryland. I've talked about them pretty extensively. I own them in the fantasy. They're 25-7 this year. They don't have the toughest strength of schedule, but they're playing super good baseball. They only have 1 series loss this year, and that's to Dallas Baptist. So I think that if they continue on,
That's a pretty good point right there.
Right. They like that is their 1 series loss. Everything else they've won the series or swept. So you can't blame them. And I'm pretty upset that I didn't put them in our rankings because that's another team that I overlooked, which I shouldn't have because I own them. But yeah, they're my contender because they're playing solid baseball. And then my pretender. Oh boy. Who wants to guess my pretender?
Ole Miss.
Ole Piss. I'll read exactly what I have word for word.
Officially dead.
They're not a good baseball team, and I am tired of people acting like they are. 19-12 with losses to Oral Roberts, Southeastern Louisiana, and Bama. All unranked teams. They're going to get smoked in their series against South Carolina, and probably, this isn't my bold take, but probably lose their next 2 weekend series and become a 500 baseball team. Ole Miss is not a good baseball team. And ever since all the Ole Miss fans came out of the woodworks for that 3-day period and shat on us for not having Ole Miss at number 1, where the fuck are you at? Because you're not in my mentions. You're not in the podcast mentions. You're not in the rankings of anyone.
They deleted their Twitter.
So where are you at?
Or
Well, you forget that guy had like two. That was his second account. It was his burner account. He was adding us at.
that's right.
He burned the
care.
burner.
Where, my question still stands. There was more than one. Where are you at? Because all of them came out of the woodworks and they're like, you guys are, you don't put any respect on our name. Ole Miss is the best baseball team in Mississippi. No, you're fucking not. Southern Miss is, because Mississippi State can't even win a fucking series.
Great point.
So,
So-
answer me, guys.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I do want you to know, TJ, that I love your energy every time you talk about Ole Miss. It's just
Listen,
uncomparable. You can't
you know
compare
what?
your energy about how much you hate Ole Miss.
No,
I
it's
love
not.
it.
It's not even that I hate Ole Miss. I don't, because I
Well, you hate
used-
the Ole Miss
like,
fan. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's not
you know
that. But if you're gonna have such a harsh and precise opinion about your team and be
Pick up from
so
24/7.
oh my God, I'm so behind this team, ride or die, whatever. Okay,
You better back it up.
yeah, back it up. Like,
That's me with Notre Dame.
If you're gonna ride when it's time to ride, you better die when it's
Yeah.
time
It
to
was-
die.
It was
And
just
I
so
expect-
easy.
it was easy, and not that I expect Auburn to lose, but if Auburn does fall off of this high horse they're on, I venture to say that Auburn fans are going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, but I don't think there's going to be an equal to how indignant Mississippi State fans were going into the Tennessee series, and then
They were,
how thoroughly they got their ass
and
hold.
and to be
in.
honest, it wasn't even just their fans; it was their players too.
Yeah.
We can't forget the quotes that the players were saying. So,
Yeah. All right, that's enough on Ole Miss
sorry about
fans
that.
there.
Sorry about that. I had to throw it in.
They had to.
Title of the pod.
Yeah.
Where you at?
Yeah. So moving into my pretender, I'm going out to Arizona. Okay. Arizona was a top team. I think I had them as high as 7 at one point in the season. And now they've lost games. They've lost a series to Texas State, lost a midweek to New Mexico, lost a series to UCLA last weekend, then lost to Arizona State, and then just lost to a 7 games below 500 Washington State team. They're not, now that they're getting into playing those tougher caliber, more Pac-12 teams, they're just dropping games left and right. And I think
Getting
they're
exposed.
very much on the downslope with, they don't even look like a good team that's just finding ways to lose games. They just look like a losing team on the field right now. And I don't think they can find a way to get out of that hole. I think they're going to just keep slowly sliding down, maybe getting 1 or 2 wins a week. And that's about it for them. And then moving in to my contender. Oh, was something to say something?
Do you think that they're gonna stay in the top 25, or do you think they'll move out of it by the next
I
week or
think,
two?
I think they'll very slowly, at least for me, go down 5 spots a week until they're out of the top 25. So I think they might hang on to like a 23 to 25 spot by the end of the season.
Okay.
I already
I
dumped them out
don't-
of my top 25.
I'm not
I
ready to
did.
put on them yet, just because they did have some good wins and played really good baseball. So I know they're capable of playing that high caliber baseball against these good teams. They're just not currently doing it. And
Yeah, I think you can
I
compare them
guess-
to Florida State. They're kind of very similar.
Yeah.
teams.
But I am so excited to talk about my contender right now. I had them ranked at number 25 this week. I've talked about them before. The Georgia Southern Eagles. 20-11. I've already said it. They beat Georgia Tech, Georgia, Mercer. Georgia Southern is the king of Georgia. And they beat Texas State when everyone was all high on Texas State. And like I said earlier, the ERA against
Not everyone. I was not high on Texas State.
Most everybody.
their ERA for and against is almost equal. Their batting average for and against is like 268 for and like 263 or 258 against. So it's within .01 batting average for both teams. And they're finding ways to win games. And that's what good teams do. Good teams, no matter what the box score says, what the recap says, what the stats say at the end of the game, good teams win baseball games. And Georgia Southern is just winning baseball games. And I think they will continue. So that's my contender this week for the second time.
Nice. The consistency, I like it too, because again, this is not the first time you've mentioned Georgia Southern.
This is now a Georgia Southern podcast.
Still Wake Forest. Still Wake Forest.
I'll go ahead and chime in with mine. So I don't have a pretender this week. I have a contender and a tweener. I'm going to call it a tweener. My contender, and I just want to touch on them a little bit because my contender is Arkansas. They dropped the series against Florida this weekend, but it was in Gainesville. They came out and won big on Thursday against one of the best starters in the SEC, Hunter Barco for Florida. So Barco had a great start. It was a pitcher's duel for the first 6 or 7 innings, but they exploded there at the end of the game. Hagen Smith comes out and doesn't have his best stuff on Friday, and they lose game 2. And then game 3, they tied it up in the 8th inning and then give up 2 runs in the 8th inning to Florida. So they lost the series in Gainesville to a Florida team that had been cold. They were coming off a couple of series losses, but they're still chock full of talent. So I'm still high on the Razorbacks. Tough to see them drop that series and that streak they were on, but I think they can still make a deep Omaha run. So I think they're still a contender.
I'm going to touch on that a little bit. At Ball Auburn was tweeting me earlier, and he said, if you guys want good engagement, take Arkansas out of your top 25. He tweeted me that personally. And I replied with, if Arkansas loses to LSU this weekend,
They're gone.
I won't take them out of my top 25. I said I will take them out of my top 10. And we've agreed that we will get some good engagement from the Auburn fans over at his account. But yeah, I agree that Arkansas is, they're iffy.
No, I don't think they're iffy. I think they're a contender. That's what I said.
I'm sorry. I definitely misheard you.
No, Arkansas is a contender. My tweener, and I'm only bringing this team up because it is my alma mater. It's Georgia Tech, but also I feel like so far this season, there have been so many teams that we've said we're still waiting to figure it out. Like we're waiting for this big series to see who they really are. I feel like this weekend against Florida State has proved unquestionably who Georgia Tech is, and that is a team that has one of the best offenses in the country. We talked about Parada. They just got their starting shortstop Chandler Simpson back. All he did was, go hit a leadoff triple on Saturday, went 7 for 14, his first weekend back after 4 weeks off with a triple and a double. And most impressively, against Parker Messick, they touched him for 10 hits and 6 runs and didn't even make it out of the 3rd inning. That is his shortest start of the year by far. They did the same thing to Bryce Hubbard on Saturday. He gave up 4 earned runs and 7 hits. So 2 of the best starting pitchers in the country, they're lining them up. But equally as firm as the offense is that the pitching staff is not there. They have Chance Huff, and there's really nobody else. TJ, I know wanted to mention this in the bold segment sake to check up on it. TJ, would you remind the people what my bold prediction was way back when?
Yeah, you said that Georgia Tech was going to win the ACC and have the highest ERA, correct?
I said they were going to win the ACC and finish bottom 3 in the conference in ERA. So the current leaderboard for ACC ERA, third from the last is Pittsburgh at 5.64. Second to last is Duke at 5.68. And last place is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at 5.73.
That's funny because
I'm happy with. Oh, no, go ahead.
That's funny because that was was our first segment of Twisted Takes, and we all kind of put season long takes, and I think I had changed it to doing only week long takes.
Yeah.
But
Because I had Notre Dame winning the ACC in that same take.
I'd have to go back and look at who I picked. I think I chose Sue just for being the dumbest because he thought Duke was going to sweep UNC.
That's right.
Because they won the ACC last year. Crazy
That's
enough.
fine.
Yeah, now
But I
they're
think-
3-12 in the ACC.
Yeah.
But I don't know if yours actually comes true. We're going to have to figure out
That's ridiculous.
something for me to do. Might need to be a tall boy, but
So on
you're
the
definitely.
topic,
Are they in? Are
on
they
the topic, I
winning
want
the
to
ACC
I
right
want to
now?
talk. I want to talk about the ACC because there are 10 out of the 14 teams that are actually doing something this year, which is mind blowing. That 10 in one conference, and it's not the SEC this year. You know, obviously the SEC is great, but it is crazy to think that the ACC is kind of taking over the baseball scene this year, and I'm all for it. Being a Notre Dame fan and being from Indiana, I love it. But Notre Dame is technically over Georgia Tech right now, so I'll take that.
Yeah, and I should say, like, when you say winning the ACC, that refers to the end of season tournament. Like, you get
Yeah.
seeded according to your
Yeah.
conference standing. So that the whole reason I wanted to bring Georgia Tech up is because they are a known quantity now. They can light up any pitcher, but they can also give it up to any offense in the country. So, you know, they will go as far as their bats will carry them, but there are so many teams I feel like that are still streaking, like Florida, cold. Now they seem to be hot again. Vanderbilt was hot, ice cold now. Tennessee is the only other team that's that constant. Virginia, we were high on, just got swept by Miami. Miami was cold as hell to start off the season, and now they're the best two teams in the country.
Yeah.
So by contrast, right, I feel like Georgia Tech there's no more surprises. Like, it's never going to surprise me to see them give up 37 runs in a series, and it's never going to surprise me to see them put up 37 in a series. So that's why I said they're not a contender or a pretender. They can be a contender with the offense, but they can also be a pretender with the lack of pitching staff.
For my contender, I had UCLA as my contender because early on in the year, we were pretty high on UCLA. I'm pretty sure they won the Shriners Classic. And then we immediately stopped talking about them because they lost the series to USC. So everybody was pretty low on them. And then after that, they won the series against Arizona. They swept Oregon. And then they won the series against Utah. So I'm very high on UCLA right now. And they have a 3-game series this weekend against Stanford, which is really going to be telling with what kind of ball club they are.
And I'll touch on that. Sweeping Oregon, they're not a.
When Oregon was hot too.
They are a very good ball club.
Well coached ball club.
Yeah,
it's because they wear those white shirts.
But that was a big win for UCLA in that series. So I will say we did kind of fall off on them after them just losing to USC, who is now, I mean, an almost a non-talkable in the Pac-12. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so they just lost that series, and then after that, they've just been super hot ever since. So they are definitely my contender for the week. And then my pretender, I have to do this one. My pretender is going to go to Auburn just because of their fan base. I understand that they won this past weekend, but I really think this upcoming weekend they get their cheeks clapped against Mississippi State.
So
I would like to talk about the fact that you're talking about somebody's fandom.
Yeah.
And yet your dumbass picks OU to win every series every weekend.
Thank you,
Just
Benji.
because you're the fan.
What do you mean?
You pick OU every weekend.
Yeah, but I don't talk shit.
I'm not saying you're talking shit.
No, I'm saying Auburn is my pretender.
What is their
they have 10 losses. They have 10 losses.
Yeah, they do have 10 losses. And yes, a lot of teams have 10 losses, as was pointed out in a lot of our rankings, which we'll talk about on Thursday. I will come to defense of their fan base. Let me finish. I will come to defense of their fan base. In my personal notifications, a lot of them are acknowledging, hey, now that I've said this, we may lost to Mississippi State. And I've said, hey, I overlooked you, and they didn't continue to shit on me. They're like, oh, it's easy to see that we're overlooked because we aren't top of the food chain SEC. We're not Tennessee. We're not fucking.
Well, we're
Yeah.
Vandy.
It was Vandy. They're acknowledging that, hey, we're kind of just now making an appearance. So they're not being douchebags about it. And I did touch on it earlier. I expected them to leave if they did lose to Mississippi State. But I mean, a lot of them are like, I expect them to be diehards, and I hope that if they do lose, they'll come back and be like, hey, tough loss, whatever.
Also,
Okay.
with those losses, especially early season losses, it's not so much, oh, this team's lost 10, but so is this team. It's who are they losing those 10 games
Okay.
to?
Yeah, like
And this
they
is what I
lost-
was going to touch on. Hold on. This is what I was going to touch on. They literally lost to OU.
Yeah. the
Auburn
very
lost to OU,
first
and then
game.
they
that
lost-
was the
very
Okay,
first
that was
hear
the
me out,
first
hear me out,
game of the
hear me out.
season.
Okay, they lost to OU. They lost to Yale. They lost to
One
Jackson
game.
State. They
They
lost
won
a
the
series to Middle Tennessee, and they lost a series to Ole Miss.
But Ole Miss was on fire at that point. They
Ole Miss is
also,
unranked now.
They also lost to Middle Tennessee. Yes, I will give you that.
The
And
series.
yes,
They lost a
yes,
the
they lost the
series.
series
to
to
and
them.
Tennessee.
they
They
lost
lost
one
game
game
to
to Yale. And they also won the series versus Texas A&M, won the series versus LSU now, and won the series versus Vandy, which are more important than one loss versus Yale and a Middle Tennessee series that literally had.
Yeah, but we're talking a pretender here. So with all of their losses, all of their wins, they just look like a mediocre ball club.
Right. I just don't see. I mean, this is your thing. I'm gonna let you say it. I just don't see how you can call someone a pretender after beating the consensus ranked number 2,
Because-
3
Okay,
team in
because
the nation.
they're basically another South Carolina, in my opinion.
And it very well could be. And I don't disagree. It very well could be that they're kind of a dark horse, as Benji said, taking just a night ride. But
They've
I
just
think
had
we-
really bad losses. They've had
I think
really good
it's-
wins.
I think it's too early. I think if they split the series with Mississippi State or go 2-1 or 1-2, I think then you could. But yeah, I just think it's a little too early. But this is your segment. That's your call. That's fine.
Yeah, they're going to turn into another Ole Miss. That's my opinion. Because you talk shit, get hits. They're going to get their cheeks clapped this week against Mississippi State.
Bold.
All right. And
Moving right into
no,
the twisted takes, I see.
no,
Right,
I guess
Travis.
we gotta choose the
yeah,
the,
who's your winner
contender
of
pretender.
contender?
Wait, where
pretender?
Travis, where were you?
Taking a shit. Peeing out of my butthole.
Oh,
So
Mom,
yeah.
don't listen to this week's either.
Oh, that's okay. No, I probably need mom to tell me what I need to drink to recover from that. Do I need chicken noodle soup?
I think I'm going to give you the Pepto Bismol award.
Thanks.
That
I could
it,
use
the
some.
the Pepto Bismol award goes to Travis with his
I need a-
tweener against with Georgia Tech.
I'll say I had a tweener.
So nice tweener pick. I'm going to give the Pepto Bismol award to you.
All right, thanks. Okay, TJ, let's get some bold predictions up in here.
I won't shotgun because
That's why.
All right,
That's
so
the whole
I'm-
sole
nice little
purpose.
pop here.
I'm gonna kick it off hot here. All right.
I
Tennessee.
didn't even intro the segment.
Oh, I didn't know what you were introing the segments.
Welcome to TJ's Twisted Takes.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off this
So glad
edition
we
of
did that.
TJ's Twisted Takes here pretty hot. So Tennessee is going into the weekend playing Alabama. I think Alabama wins one game this weekend.
I disagree with that. They have 23 straight wins, man. They ain't losing.
I think Alabama is going to be the team, and I'm wearing the Vol shirt. I'm a big Tennessee guy this year, but I think Alabama derails Tennessee for one loss this weekend.
Okay,
When you say derail, do you mean like blowout derail or
No.
like
No, they're just going to win one game. Tennessee
Eight to
is
two.
going to come out
8-2.
32-2.
8-2.
this is an interesting one though. So, Eric, is there any specific like player or reason why you feel this is going to happen? Because I want to ask you a follow-up question.
I just don't think Tennessee's success is sustainable
Yeah,
for
which is fair.
as many games as it's been. Alabama's 21-12. They've played good baseball. When Texas was hot, Texas only scored 8 runs on them. They won. They lost 0-1, 0-2 to a hot Texas team. They play good teams very well. They don't have all their losses are not. Most of their losses aren't big losses. They still win close games. They're not blowing teams out.
I think they're hurting their own RPI by just drilling their own conference too.
And they went and they swept Ole Miss last week. They're gonna be riding high. They're playing Belmont this weekend during the week, so they're gonna get probably some good BP in this week. And then they're gonna come in and play Tennessee in Knoxville, and I think Alabama comes out 1-2 this weekend, and Tennessee's gonna drop a game and end their winning streak.
Here's my thing. I credit you a lot because Alabama did play Texas well. Like that's one series that sticks in my mind from earlier this year. And I'm going to blend it a little bit into mine because one of my bold takes, I had two because we did Iona watch. One of my 2 bold takes is that if Iona does not get a win against St. Peter's, they will not get a win for the rest of the season.
I agree
And
with that 100%.
the reason that these are so bold, even that one, is the unpredictability of baseball that we've talked about before, where on any given day, any team can really truly beat any other team. The problem though, with Tennessee, I think your prediction, tell me which pitcher Alabama is going to beat between Chase Burns, Chase Dollander, and Drew Beam.
I was going to ask
Like,
that question.
I'm not saying that this is
Yeah.
like a bad prediction. I'm just saying like the way they've been
Me-
pitching, it's like I can't even picture any of them not continuing the dominance that they're having.
No, Mizzou put up a fight on. I think it was Chase
Burns,
Dollander.
I think.
Yeah, it was Chase Burns went 2.2 innings, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 2 earned runs, 3 hits. So granted, he walked in, or he put 4 free runners out there for them to score those 2 runs off of. But that was against Mizzou. And I think Alabama's got better bats than Mizzou. I think they have better play discipline than Mizzou. And Chase Burns showed some weakness last week. And I think Alabama finds a way to exploit that. I mean,
All right, very full
Oh,
credit.
that's a very good twist.
Good prediction.
Yeah. Benji?
So mine is I've got good old Virginia Tech staying spicy and taking the series versus Miami. I know Miami's been playing hot, but I think
Oh,
Virginia Tech's been playing hot
yeah.
too.
no,
They-
Virginia Tech's
they
also
do-
been playing hot, and I think Miami's obviously going to win a game.
is that series
I'm not
at
going to give
Virginia
them.
Tech?
I'm not going to give them a sweep. No, it's yeah. Sorry, it's at Virginia Tech.
Okay, then it's possible. I
So
would say.
I think Miami's still going to get a dub, but I don't think they're going to win the series. I think Virginia Tech takes that series, and I think Virginia Tech goes 3-1 on the week from today to next Sunday.
Because Virginia Tech does have the midweek against
Versus
Brennan's
Liberty.
Pretender.
Yeah, versus
Liberty. So-
Yep.
That's all right. That's bold.
I
Travis?
have Virginia Tech in my
Caesars?
14 too.
All right. What's your take?
Oh, Travis, what's your take?
Have you listened at all? I talked for 10 minutes about
No,
Georgia Tech
no,
and
Travis.
Arkansas.
No, Travis just said your name.
Oh,
So-
my bold take. My bad. I thought we were still
Yeah.
on contender pretender. First off, let me look at the score sheet because I
Wait,
almost,
whoa, what?
You thought we
Where
were
have
on
you
Contender
been,
Pretender?
Travis?
I
I was
gave the
shitting.
siren and
He was
everything.
taking a
I was
shit.
shitting.
No, you were
Um,
here
No,
when I
no,
gave the
Trav-
siren.
Travis did the bow,
Just-
bow, bow.
Oh, so you're high on. I know you're right. I missed that one. I was too busy waiting to call you out for using the West Virginia logo instead of the Virginia Tech logo. But never mind. You're just high on all the Virginia Tech and West Virginia. So credit. Anyway,
Caesars?
Are
my
you talking about me?
yeah, I saw a West Virginia logo in your
Yeah.
sheet. I thought you might have confused the two, but
No.
no. So okay, my Safari decided to crash. Okay, my bold prediction. I already mentioned the Iona one. If they don't get a win this weekend against St. Peter's, they will go winless on the season, which is ridiculous. My bold prediction. So LSU is their next series is paying a visit to old Arkansas at Fayetteville. I think Arkansas bounces back and sweeps LSU at home. Home sweep of the Tigers.
You don't think LSU takes any
In
win
the
at all?
box.
I don't think
Not
so.
one?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Not even with Blake Money on the mound?
Is he even healthy?
Partially.
Has he been
About
pitching?
Yeah.
Okay. Then okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think Arkansas, they dropped one game in a blowout series in a blowout way to Florida. And I think Florida's bats are much better than LSU's. So LSU's got a couple of really hot players. Like Dylan Cruz, I think, is one, and Joe Bear or something like
But
that.
NC
Jacob-
State proves
Jacob
that
Berry.
that only gets you so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. So I think Arkansas is going to sweep LSU at home.
Suge.
I have two bold sweeps that I'm predicting, which is going to be Florida State against Louisville. Florida State's been playing awful baseball lately, and Louisville's been playing great baseball lately. But I think the tide finally turns for Florida State, and they can sweep Louisville. And my other sweep is going to go to one I touched on earlier, which will be Mississippi State sweeping Auburn, because I just feel like Auburn is another South Carolina, and they play good against good teams
I'll be
and
honest.
bad against
only-
subpar teams.
I only didn't do my Auburn take due to the fact I knew that you were gonna say that Mississippi State was sweeping Auburn.
Did you think
I-
Auburn was going to sweep Mississippi State?
No, I don't think they're gonna do a sweep, but I think they're gonna win the series.
Is that bold though?
I mean, it's still a take. It's not. That doesn't necessarily.
I'd say
mean
it's a
twisted take.
prediction. It's not a bold prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saying Auburn is gonna sweep or Auburn is gonna get swept is
That's
Pretty-
a bold.
but
bold
again,
prediction.
as
These are bold statements.
Have you been
no, but
drinking
no.
tonight?
As Eric
Can we-
said from the very first segment,
Can we include where the series are? Because it's important to me that like if Arkansas goes and plays LSU
It,
in Baton Rouge, I don't think a sweep happens. Where is the
It's-
Mississippi State
it's
Auburn
at
series?
Mississippi. It's at Mississippi State.
Okay, so he's saying Mississippi State's going to sweep Auburn at home.
At Mississippi. Yeah,
Mhm.
at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's still bold, but like again, that's necessary context because if it was at Auburn, that would have been even more bold.
Virtually impossible.
Eric, can you say yours one more time?
Alabama's going to end Tennessee's losing streak or winning streak and give them their second loss.
I did like that.
I think you have to go with that one because that one actually made us have the most like conversation
Yeah,
about.
Yeah. I agree
baseball.
with that.
and I'm gonna be honest, I don't disagree with it. I feel like it could happen. So yeah, I'll take Eric on this one on old TJ's twisted takes that Auburn takes, or God damn it, not Auburn. Alabama takes one.
I'm sorry, I've been talking
So-
about Auburn way too much.
I think
It's
we all
all right,
have.
so we all
Yeah,
have,
we,
yeah,
we
we-
all
we
have,
all
so it's
have
fine.
stuff.
But I think
All right.
Alabama will take one from Tennessee.
Well, was there anything else we wanted to touch on?
I
Otherwise,
want to know.
yeah.
I want to know Travis. I want to know Travis's take on Auburn.
my take on Auburn,
Yes,
like
them dropping a series to Ole Miss, dropping a series to Middle Tennessee, and then winning against these great teams.
yeah.
I mean, are
Problem-
they another?
Problem is, if Sonny DeChara gets up to plate, like in a critical situation, it's almost an automatic. You
No.
count on him to make the play, which not a lot of players in college baseball you can talk about in
Nor-
that way.
I mean, with Travis's take on that, I started the season with NC State saying that one person couldn't do it. But Sonny DeChara is literally proving me wrong every weekend. But he's staying consistent, and that's the thing. And I think that's the biggest difference is that I agree with Travis is that if you get him up to the plate with 1-2 guys on, the dude gets on base. You're either going to get one run or you're going to push runners over to where the next guy can get them in. And I think
That's
that's,
all I read.
why I think that's why they have been so successful day in and day out. Yes, they lost a couple series, 1 or 2, and they've lost a couple games here and there with Vandy 1 loss, LSU 1 loss. they're gonna drop a couple games here and there, but they're still performing very well for what they have.
I would say, and again, one of the reasons why I brought Georgia Tech up was to compare between teams like this, where I think there's still the jury's still out. If I had to pick one, though, I think Auburn's more of a pretender than they are a contender. Just my personal opinion, though. I think obviously Ole Miss was hot when they lost to them, but they still lost. And then Louisiana State is, we've talked ad nauseum about, like, are they the team that goes in and sweeps Florida, or are they the team that, gets beaten by what was it, like Rhode Island or Maine, or I think they beat those teams, but they lost to a lot of mediocre teams as well.
Yeah, they
So,
only allowed 1 run versus Rhode Island, or 3 runs total in 4 games versus Rhode Island, and they scored 7, 16, 12, and 14 versus Rhode Island.
yeah, that was a very good one.
I didn't
So,
expect the SEC to be so unpredictable this year.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
through. I didn't even give my take. My take is that I'll give my take and then run down the midweeks and then we'll end it. My take is that Kevin Parada will be the home run leader by next Sunday. He's in a 3-way
Unanimous
tie.
or a standalone.
Standalone. He's in a 3-way
By
tie,
next
as we talked
Sunday?
about, by next Sunday.
Who do they
With
play?
Travis.
You've got the midweek, homie.
Oh,
Well,
shit. Shit,
Before we
sorry.
hop into the midweek,
sure
I,
do.
I do want to highlight.
They play Georgia
a,
State.
I want to highlight a bullpen alumni, Nolan Devos. I was looking at his stats for the season.
Dude, Davidson is killing it. Like the whole
He's
team
got-
is killing
are.
it.
He's got 4 games that he has not allowed a single run. He's given up 10 runs this season, 8 of them in 2 games. And he's pitched in 4,
Yeah, to
5,
Maryland,
6,
right?
7,
One of those
8.
was Maryland.
I think, yeah. He's
Who is a
pitched in
solid
8.
team.
He's
getting
pitched
drafted.
in
He's
8
getting
games.
drafted.
Dude has a
depends on the year.
1.91
Maybe he wants to
ERA on
degree.
the season.
You might want a degree.
So
Yeah,
I know
we-
Travis. Yeah, I know Travis pointed him out on one of his blogs he put out as a pitcher to watch for pitcher of the year, and he's been making a solid case for it ever since.
Yeah, we definitely need to have him on later in the season just to recap everything. But yeah, I'm taking
Georgia Tech
Eric's-
is playing UNC in the weekend series.
in
by
the
way.
weekend, yes.
Yeah,
So
he's probably gonna get at least 4 that weekend.
Yeah.
They're playing quite rough the last couple weekends.
so burning
One-
down the midweeks. Oh, go
Quickly,
ahead.
one last note on Davidson. The player that Nolan told us to watch out for, Michael Carrico, the catcher, he's right now 5th in the NCAA in OPS. So he's 4th in on base and 10th in slugging. So the
And
only
he-
players ahead of him are Sonny DeChara from Auburn. Chase DeLauder is a new one from James Madison. And then Jake Jolloff is still number 3.
Yeah, and at the time of that interview, he was number 1. So
Yeah.
he's not falling off that horse.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, just burn down the midweek super quick. Tennessee plays Tennessee Tech. Texas Tech plays Oklahoma. Miami plays Florida Atlantic. Arkansas plays Arkansas Pine Bluff. Texas plays SFA. Virginia plays Old Dominion. Georgia plays Kennesaw State. Oregon State doesn't have a midweek. Notre Dame plays Michigan. Oklahoma State plays Wichita State. Vanderbilt plays Western Kentucky. UCLA plays Pepperdine. LSU plays Lamar. Mercer plays Florida A&M. Arizona plays New Mexico State. Stanford plays San Francisco. Louisville plays Cincinnati. Wake Forest plays UNC Greensboro. Gonzaga doesn't have one. Florida plays Florida State again. Southern Miss plays Southern Louisiana. Texas State plays Baylor. Ranked Baylor train over there. Florida State plays Florida. That's going to be a solid midweek matchup. Southern Miss plays Southern Louisiana. I already said that. TCU plays Dallas Baptist. Ole Miss plays Murray State. Virginia Tech plays Liberty. Oregon doesn't have one. NC State plays UNCW. Old Dominion plays Virginia. Georgia Tech plays Georgia State. Dallas Baptist plays TCU. Auburn plays Samford. UConn plays Marist. Alabama plays Belmont. Maryland plays James Madison, Wofford College, and Grand Canyon do not have midweeks.
There's some interesting ones in there. Obviously, Florida State, Florida's kind of like the
Yeah, that's
marquee
going to be a
one,
big one.
but TCU, DBU,
TCU, DBU, and Texas State Baylor.
OU
and
Tech.
OU Tech. Old Dominion, Virginia is one that caught my ear because Old Dominion is one. I think they were in my rankings. Well, there's plenty of good midweek baseball. Okay, well, tune in Thursday to hear all about. We're gonna be breaking down our rankings, getting Brennan back on.
Yeah, I
talk
miss you,
about
Brennan.
his. Yeah.
Talk about the real Tigers.
Yes,
Yeah.
the real Tigers. Hopefully after some good midweek baseball, and then
Go Tigers.
another, MLB is back and we're all enjoying following it again.
God bless America.
Yeah. But don't stop watching college baseball, guys. The teams and the players, it's quite a ride, and I'm super psyched to see how this all plays out as conference play winds up here in the next couple of weeks. All right,
Grow the
guys.
game, baby.
Yes, grow the game. See you guys on Thursday.